Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the M53 M55, the Tier 9 American SPG, located on the south spawn of Prokhorovka. It's under the command of Angelina 75. And it looks like she's had an ace tanker in this vehicle already because she's got the marks on the vehicle to prove it. In fact, she's built one of them right through the gun itself, or through the manlet anyway. Game on. Okay, the M53. It was designed and built with the hull of a Patton tank, but the gun, well, that's pure 8-inch howitzer you're looking at there, and this makes this the M55 as a consequence. The M53 has the 155mm gun, but this is a very powerful gun with 31.84 seconds on the reload for Angelina. Normally it's around about 35 seconds overall, so she's managed to clip a fair bit of reload time off that with probably a gun rammer and a BIA crew. Now she's seen some destruction there, so obviously somebody's there but not spotted. We've got a 60 TP coming up to the centre line. She's lining up the shots. Direct hit. 328 hit points. It's a good start to the game. Obviously that was a non-penetrating shot because this howitzer will actually do 1050 alpha and penetrates 52mm of armour. And it's got a burst radius of 11.1 meters as well. With the premium rounds that goes up to 12.2, and that can make a big difference if you've got more than one enemy tank lined up together, especially when they're at a choke point. Now you may have been wondering why there's been very few replays or videos on the What Arty Noobs channel on YouTube recently, and there's a reason for that. Yes, we've been migrating the videos onto Rumble. Obviously YouTube and other big tech channels are taking part in cancel culture. They're trying to remove people from the web or remove channels from the web that don't fit their political view, and as a consequence we are moving to another channel to ensure that our videos can still be seen by those people who sent in their replays. Now you may have wondered why there's a different sound every time you fire the gun now, and that's because we're using a sound pack which actually has a different noise every time you fire the gun. In fact, you can hear the shell cases dropping to the floor of the vehicle, and I think it's a lot more realistic, that shell cases. Of course, the M55 fires 2-part ammunition. The 8-inch howitzer shell is actually quite big and very, very heavy, and they actually require a hoist to move it onto the vehicle. That was a really good hit. 488 hit points into the side of an E100. I notice how Angelina is actually moving after each shot to avoid counter battery. She doesn't have to move very far, just enough to avoid a direct hit. She might get stunned, but she won't get put out of the game that way. Going back to the E100. Yes, it's 2-part ammunition for the 8-inch howitzer. The actual shell itself is different from the cartridge that actually fires it. 303 hit points there. In fact, really in all respects, the difference between the M53 and the M55 is just the fact that one carries 155mm shells and the other one carries 8-inch shells. And that means a difference in the number of shells you can actually carry, as well as the way the racks around the gun are actually ordered, and of course the gun itself. The mount is basically still the same. So everything about the vehicle is identical except for the mount that has the actual gun, or howitzer, and then the racks along the sides of the vehicle which actually contain the shells. So far, Angelina's racked up 1,512 hit points of damage and 420 of stun assist. Her team's one tank up on the enemy, but that still means it's anybody's game. In fact, it's now down to 3-3, so they just lost their Type 5 Heavy. There was a near miss there. on the 60TP. It's a bunch of enemy tanks over on the west side of the map, a Type 4 Heavy and Object 430. Not spotted at the moment, but they were spotted. She's going back to the 60TP, but she changes her mind because she's paying attention to the hill. And that's a good job because the hill is very important actually. Seeing if she can get a shot into this AMX M451 Tier 9 French heavy tank. Direct hit! Right into his side. Right next door to the turret. And the Object 430U makes a quick dash down the west side of the map and hides behind one of the wrecks that's lying there. I think he's just staying there temporarily, but if he does stay there, he's obviously going to get hit. And he must realise that. If he doesn't realise that, he's very foolish. He's pulling back now. Probably because his teammates didn't go with him. Angelina didn't fire, even though she could have fired if she thought where she, or worked out where he was. But instead, she's got a clean shot on a 60TP. See if she can get a shot into him. Bounce out. Looks good. It is. 334. Now this is a two-parter video. So we've got two games by Angelina in the M53, M55. Occasionally we do get members who actually send in two videos of the same vehicle in action. Obviously sometimes there's a small gap between when one was actually done and when the other, but it does show the improvement sometimes you see from various players. Oh, Waffenträger! Oh, she just missed him! The shell shot over the top of him, landed far enough behind that it didn't do any damage, but it did stun the Waffenträger. He's very badly damaged, so if he'd actually been caught in the blast, I think he would have been out the game because it would have taken away his last few hit points. But Angelina's team are not doing so well now because they're 3 tanks down on the enemy. And normally when you get to the 3 tank point, you are usually going to be finding it very difficult to make your way back because she fires at the Scorpion and she kills him. Yep, that one was close enough to take out the Scorpion because he's fairly lightly armoured. Unfortunately, we lost the AE Phase 1 because he was also very badly damaged. And so there's still a 3 tank gap, but the Waffenträger's popped up and we know where he is again. But Angelina's not going to follow him. She's actually now looking for a better target that she can definitely hit. She's got a request to shoot on that 60TP. That's that down arrow you saw there for a brief moment. That's somebody requesting fire on that tank. Rounds out. Looks good. It is. 328 hit points from that shot. So she's now up to just under 3k of damage. And the game's only been going for just under 8 minutes. So I think it's going to be a good score for her at the end. Type 4 Heavy is very low on hit points. She could probably take him out with one shot if she can get the shot to land on the target. In fact, he just lost some more hit points. Here she goes. Rounds out. And she did get him. It was worth a blind shot because if you know the target's in the vicinity and it's a slow heavy like a Type 4, then it's worth a shot, a blind shot, just to see if he's still there. Over in the back of the map, we've got a Skoda T-50 Tier 9 Czech tank with an autoloader. Very light armor on that thing. If she can land a shell on him, she might actually penetrate him. Rounds out. Well, she fired into the bushes where he was spotted, but the Object 430 was the only one that came into view. I think he's been proximity spotted by our Jagdtiger, who's also down that end. Ah, the 60TP that she's been hitting repeatedly. Now again, if she can put a shell on that target, I think she can probably splash kill him. Getting ready to shoot. She lost sight of him. She's fired anyway. And she did get the splash kill. He was very close, but unfortunately an enemy heavy has also got close to Angelina. It's one of the Bisonte C45s, the new tank. The auto reloader heavy. He's very close to her, but she hasn't been spotted yet. Her sixth sense hasn't gone off. He is getting closer and closer. She's Just about to be loaded. Unfortunately, he's got a red line because he's in a dip. And she can't shoot until he comes out of the dip. Otherwise, she just hit the ridge line. And it looks like he might... He's firing on the Leopard who's nearby Angelina. But Angelina's got no shot on the Bisonte. Oh, now she did. He pulled back far enough that the shell could loop into the dip. The M53, M55 is one of the few Artys with gun depression. But if you go into the dip the way that that guy did, it was very difficult for Angelina to get a shot on him. But the moment he backed up far enough, she could. But she's still reloading. And that ELC has got very close. He kills the Leopard. Will she be next? I think she might be. She's been hit by him. And before she can get a shot off, she gets wiped out by the GW Tiger P on the enemy team. Oh, that's very unfortunate, that. And there's only one left on her team. It's the M40, M43. And he's over on the other side of the battlefield. Over there. Yep. She switched over to player 666. Who's looking in the direction of that ELC Evan 19. Here he comes. Oh, he tries the shotgun and fails. And he's wiped out by the Batchat 155-55. So I'm afraid that game is a loss. Let's have a look at the second game and see how Angelina gets on in that one. And the second battle is on Studzianki, the Polish map. And she's on the east spawn. And the battle's about to start.
Let's go.
Game on. Okay, 18-inch howitzer again. Same vehicle, same player, different map. Let's have a look and see how she gets on. Now you can see that Angelina's got one mark of excellence on the barrel of her M53, M55. Sure sign that she's on the way to getting her second mark and maybe her third as well. The M53, M55 is one of the most popular Artys in the game. Probably alongside the M44 in its popularity, mainly because it does have a turret. It's very accurate, very hard hitting, and it's a game winner if it's in the right hands. Okay, we saw an M41 Walker Bulldog going up onto the west side of the forest at the north end of the map. It's a good spotting place. Spot the tanks on the east side, and he's just found a Pantera. There's the Bulldog. Used to be one of the best tanks in the game, the M41 Walker Bulldog, but Wargaming, well, they decided to neuter it. They stopped it being an auto reloader, and then they basically damaged its capabilities, and now, well, it's just another tank. It's not the one of the best little tanks in the game, best little light tanks. Unfortunately, the enemy seems to have conquered the forest north end of the map, and we just watched that T-69 got killed in the south. But whilst we've got the riverbed in the south, the enemy's now got the forest in the north. I don't know if you've noticed, but we do have an Arty in the forest, in the little wood in grid square A0, right up at the north end of the map. And that guy's very vulnerable now because there's nothing between him and the enemy. Meanwhile, Angelina's looking in the woods to the south end of the map to see if there's any defenders. Ah, she's found one. It's an IS-3, tier 8 Soviet heavy. Manages to stun him. The shell landed a short distance behind him. More Arty shells come in from the other two Artys on the team. You can see how close they were to the target. But we've lost sight of the IS-3, but we can see some of the destruction he's causing because he's knocking over some of the scenery as he's moving about. Okay, up in the north we've got a Conway, a Type 61 and an M41 Walker Bulldog again. Angelina's loaded, she's just dialing in on the Conway. He just got tracked, rounds out. Long flight time, but 423 hit points of damage to him. He's now one shot for anyone. He's only got 3 hit points left and he's gone. The kill goes to the Tortoise. In fact, the only enemy tank that survived that That number of that volley of shots was the Type 61, and he's now been taken out as well by a Strip 103B. So the enemy has lost the woods to the north, apart from their Walker Bulldog. Now Angeline's decided to move a bit further south, but the wood gets quite heavy around here, so it's difficult to move about without actually knocking down a tree. She manages to thread her way through without actually doing that, and of course it's very important not to knock trees down, because if you do knock a tree down, it does give away your position. Obviously, even though you can't actually see the vehicle, you can see the trees going down in Battle Assistant, and that's a sure sign that something is there when you see a tree drop. Now you might liken that to a forward observer seeing a tree fall in the forest. Can't actually see the vehicle, but he can certainly see a tree crashing down, and he realises there's something there knocking trees down. Okay, she's going for the IS-3, and I think that's the same IS-3 that was hit earlier in the game. Just lining up the shot, waiting for him to be predictable. She aims behind him, but he stops and moves forward. She fires her round in. Now I think that would have been fairly close to the IS-3. It looks like the enemy is being squeezed into the northwest corner of the map. They do occupy this side of the factory with a Scorpion G, Type 5 Heavy and a Mouse. There's the IS-3 again, he's popped up in the ditch near their cap area. Trying to go for a shot on the rear of that Scorpion G, rounds out. Did she get a hit? Well, it went long, but it still did 97 hit points of splash. Now, there is an advantage to actually getting closer to the ditch in this game if you're in the south, because, or the ditch, the riverbed, because the closer you are, the easier it is to hit enemy tanks that are on the other side of the factory. Of course, there is the commensurate risk that the enemy might make a quick push towards the riverbed, and then you actually get taken out as you get found. Okay, well, she's going to sight herself in the riverbed, and from here she's got lovely shots on that Type 5, the Scorpion, and potentially the Mouse. In fact, the Mouse looks like he's been hit by an HE round as well, because if you notice that little mark on the turret on the mantlet, that's an impact point from a HE shell. She managed to get around near the rear of that Type 5, Type 4 Heavy. She's now going for a GWE-100. I didn't mention at the start of the game, this is a tier 10 game with tier 8 tanks in it. Okay, the GWE-100 is spotted. He stopped to take a shot and gets killed immediately afterwards. And Angelina's now loaded, and she's looking at the Scorpion G, who stopped to take a shot. 2 Arty rounds came in, and Angelina's shell takes him out of the game completely, right into his side. 389 hit points. She's now up to 1.3k of damage. Now they've got a 3 tank advantage, and you saw in the previous battle, 3 tank advantage usually means that you've got a very good chance of winning. Doesn't guarantee it, but it certainly helps. I've seen 3 tank advantages taken away though, because somebody was very foolish. But at the moment we can see that there's at least over 1,000 hit points of damage difference between the two teams at the moment. In fact, that difference is dropping all the time, because it looks like some of Angelina's team are being a little careless. She's going for the rear of the Mouse. He's backing up against the wall. She fires her round in. Oh, another direct hit. It looked like the side of the turret this time. You can see there's a yellow stain right near the turret base on that Mouse. I would have thought that might have damaged the turret rotation mechanism. Yeah, as you can see, distinct little hole there. She's going to try for another one. Wait for it. Now, rounds out. Right in front of him, 395 hit points this time. She did more damage. Oh, that was a direct hit, unfortunately, from the M53, M55, and the enemy team took out her LT-432. So, 2 tanks up on the enemy now at the moment. That Type 5 is definitely trying to protect himself from Arty shells. And the mouse, well, he just wants to get shots on anyone in the south. Another direct hit, this time 389 hit points. Sorry, 339 off the Type 5. Still a 2 tank difference, but there is a distinct difference in hit points now. So 3,500 hit point damage difference. Okay, she's loaded again. Angelina's now up to 2.3k of damage. And she's going to try and put a round into the mouse. Rounds out. Hits the buildings instead, but it still stuns them. And when they took some damage, she picked up the damage assist, or stun assist. Only 4 enemy vehicles left. We gather the enemy Arty is somewhere in grid square A1. She's trying to get a shot on that Type 5 Heavy as he moves through the factory. Don't think she can though. The mouse is almost out of hit points. She fires a round in and oh! She did do some damage, 82 hit points, but stunned him again. If that shot had actually hit the rear of the mouse, I think it probably would have killed him. So it's just the mouse, the Type 5 Heavy, a T110E4 and the M53, M55. The E4 has been spotted. Oh, she fired that one through the window of the factory to try and hit them, and she stunned them. The mouse has gone down. She got the stun assist from that. She's, I think, lining up another shot on the Type 5. She's marked him as target. Here we go. Rounds out. Oh my god, she got an incredible shot through the window of the factory to take out the Type 5 Heavy. So that's 2 kills now that Angelina's got. She's now looking for the enemy Arty or the T110E4, the last 2 remaining enemy vehicles. Now she's anticipating the E4 is somewhere in the vicinity of those buildings. The standard beast did spot him, and there he is. He's been spotted. He used his big 155mm gun on the standard B, but gets wiped out by the standard B, which means now the last remaining enemy is the M53, M55 on their team. And there he is. Just saw his tracer. He just fired. She's not going to fire until she sees sight of him. Oh, she is going to fire. Unfortunately, all she did was knock down a tree there. I think he's a little further back, yes. I think he's amongst those bushes there. He'll probably get another shot in just before she fires. Oh, there he is. And no, he didn't get another shot in. T28 got him in the end. So this game ends in a victory. Let's have a look at the end of battle stats. And here's the end of battle stats for the first game, the one on Prokhorovka. Unfortunately, that one was the loss, but Angelina managed to get a first-class tanker in that game. She also picked up a fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills. She ended up with 4 exactly. A bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. She got 12. And she got a gauze medal for doing more damage, exceeding 8 times the hit points of her own vehicle. And a win 8 of 5,069, which is Super Unicum Standard. if you look at the team score, we can see that she didn't get the highest damage in the game. In fact, she got the third highest damage. The highest damage in the game actually went to the Leopard 1, who got 5,386 hit points, picked up a high caliber. The second highest damage was the 60 TP that she kept hitting. He got 5,216 hit points. And then we've got Angelina with 3,824 in that Gauze medal. When it came to kills, it was Angelina who got the highest number with 4 kills. 3 kills went to the Ag Tiger and the Bisonte on the enemy team, and 2 kills to the GW Tiger P, the Batchat 155-55 and the Skoda T-50 on the enemy team. And if we look at the base XP, we can see that yes, it was the ELC Evan 90 who got a patrol duty and 1,427 base experience points. 1,073 went to the GW Tiger P and 1,067 went to the Bisonte. And I'm afraid, yes, Angelina only got 673, but that's because she was on the losing team. She fired 16 rounds, got 5 direct hits, no penetration, but 16 splash. Damage of 3,824 hit points, of which 3,693 were at more than 300 meters. So you can see that Bisonte was the difference between the two, because he was fairly close. 2 hits received, both were penetrations, I'm afraid, and that's what took her out of the game. She earned 45,219 credits from the game, got 17,274 from Holiday Ops and 5,588 because she actually got an epic medal during the game but didn't win. So 68,081 credits altogether. After repair and ammunition resupply, she took away a profit of 23,285 credits overall. 1009 XP, 571 for Courageous Resistance, took away 1,581 experience points altogether. She says sometimes you just cannot win, or yeah, I'm afraid sometimes that is true. You try your hardest and you are working very, very hard to destroy the enemy. And in fact, both Angelina and the Leopard on her team were the last stand people, basically. They were doing their best, but there was not a lot they could do once all their teammates had been wiped out. There was just far too many enemies there to hold them off any longer. So let's have a look at the second game, and that was where she killed the Type 5 Heavy. Yes, and she took him out by firing a round through the factory windows to do it. That's something else. I've never seen people do that before. I've never even tried that before. I will try it in the future though. I've actually tried firing through the factory in terms of actually firing from a particular spot I found on the east side of the map where you can actually launch shells straight down the road towards enemy tanks on the other side, and I actually took out Object 705 and the enemy team by setting light to him whilst he was hiding on the other side of the factory. But I've never seen somebody take somebody out by actually being in the factory and shooting through the windows, so well done Angelina, that was quite a shot. Now, she only got the 3rd class tanker in this game and a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. She got 10 exactly. And her win rate from this one was 3,423. But Angelina's teammates were a lot better in this game and it was a victory. Let's have a look at team scores. Again, she didn't get the highest damage in the game. That one went to the Striv 103B, the tier 10 Swedish flat pack. She got 4,717 hit points of damage and the high caliber out of that game. The next highest scorer being, in fact, the T110E4 on the enemy team with 3,742. And then the Object 261 on her own team, we've got a Confederate and 3,687 hit points. We can see that Angelina picked up 2,788, which is no slouch because it certainly puts her in the top bracket, but I'm afraid there's 5 other players who are above her, so 6th place on damage. But when it came to number of kills, she got joint 2nd place because the Striv 103B, the Standard B, and the T110E4 got top place with 3 kills apiece, and Angelina got 2 kills along with the T28 and 3 members of the enemy team. Their M55, their Type 5 Heavy, and the GW Tiger. When it came to base XP, the Standard B got the highest with 1,059. He was the only one who got over 1,000 base. 930 went to the T28, 845 went to the FV3805, and then 831 went to Angelina. She fired 16 rounds in this game, 5 direct hits, no penetrations but 20 splash, damage of 2,788 hit points, all of the shots were at more than 300 meters. Damage 4 of the enemy, killed 2, did 873 hit points of stun assists of 18 stuns. So a lot of the time she was stunning more than one tank at the same time. 40,859 credits from the game, 16,752 from Holiday Ops, total of 57,611. After a resupply of ammunition, she still took away a profit of 27,691 credits. She earned 1,246 XP, got times 2 for the first victory, 4,988 from completing the mission Holiday Ops, and took away 7,481 experience points altogether. Angelina's come a long way in the past 6 months to a year since she started playing World of Tanks, and she's actually gotten rather good at it. In fact, actually, I think she sometimes bests even her partner at this game, and I think there's a little rivalry going on between them as to who's actually the better player. But certainly Angelina does have some really great games, and she sends in her replays, and I must admit I'm tremendously proud that she does this, because she follows these videos and she actually watches what other people do, and then she does it herself, and she actually exceeds the people she's emulating. And she actually does better than them. So she actually proves that not only has she taken on board what they've done, but she's actually getting better and better than the people she looks at. So well done, Angelina. 2 great games, 2 interesting games. Only the medal in the first one, the Gauze medal, but still a good fight in each of them. So if you enjoyed both those replays, please give the videos a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a comment down below because it feeds the YouTube algorithm. And of course, now you can check us out on Rumble as well as YouTube. Yes, we're uploading to 2 channels now, 2 separate channels, obviously, for, as I mentioned during the video, unfortunately, the way things are going at the moment, we cannot have security of having our videos available to the public at any one time from having it on just one channel. So now we're going to be uploading to 2 channels. And it seems that we're rather popular on Rumble because we do get more views on that channel than we do on YouTube. So it may be that either YouTube is misreporting the number of people who actually watch these videos, or maybe there's just so many players or so many videos on YouTube and so few on Rumble that we're actually quite popular on that channel because we're the ones who actually got over there first, and a lot of people are looking at our games and saying, oh, this is interesting. So Wargaming ought to take note of that, because yes, if their game is getting popular on Rumble, maybe they need to sponsor a few videos, sponsor a few ads over there, and get more players. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.